Assalamu alaikum. Today I will talk about advertorials. Okay, now um, these are the slides. What is an advertorial? It's a paid article that looks and reads like editorial content. It's created to promote a product, brand, or service. As you may have notified, the word itself is a hybrid between the words advertisement and editorial. Think of an advertorial as a story with an agenda. It delivers value to the reader while steering them gently toward a call to action. Now, the lead for an advertorial is either an anecdotal or a descriptive lead, just like magazine articles, just like for feature stories. It gives that storytelling feel. Now, for advertorials, there are no flashy banners, no pop ups, just content that informs, engages, and converts. It might appear in a magazine, on a blog, in your favorite newsfeed, and if it's done right, you will immediately recognize it as an advertisement. Because a good advertorial is not just an advertisement, it's an experience. Yeah, so unlike banner ads or pop-ups, advertorials are less intrusive. They respect the reader's experience and fit naturally into the surrounding content, which is why they're often more effective than traditional advertisements. The components of an advertorial are: one, it's got engaging content. Yes, we know engaging content gets tossed around a lot, but when it comes to advertorials, it's non-negotiable. Your story has to hook, hold, and help. Think storytelling over selling and substance over slogans. Give readers something worth their time. So it's a form of storytelling. Smart brand integration. This isn't a place for hard sell headlines or pushy promo copy. Great advertorials weave the brand into the story, not the other way around. The brand supports the narrative, not hijacks it. If it feels like an advertisement, you've already lost. A clear call to action, CTA, you've earned their attention, now guide it. A strong advertorial leads the reader to take the next step, whether that's clicking through, signing up, downloading, or buying. No CTA, no results. Visual storytelling. The best advertorials don't just tell a story, they show it too. So don't let your words do all the heavy lifting. Use images, videos, or infographics to boost clarity and keep the scroll alive. A well-placed visual can carry your message further and faster than a paragraph ever could. How to write an advertorial? We've identified 6 essential best practices for crafting high-performing advertorials. Understand how the reader talks about your topic. Learn their language before shaping your message. Define and nail the angle of the advertorial. Choose a hook that grabs attention and adds value. Offer real value, educate, inspire, entertain before you promote. Weave in the brand, integrate the product naturally, never force the mention. Match the publisher's tone, make it feel like it belongs in the media vehicle, yeah, in the magazine, in the newspaper. The editorial fit is everything. End with a strong CTA, guide your reader to the next step clearly and confidently. Framing your arguments, you can use the IDA model, as in attention, interest, desire, action. And this means that people go through the different steps in the IDA model. Now, with regards to attention, you can see this being used, the IDA model being used in this email, right? So you see that the first paragraph represents attention, okay? When the writer gets the reader's attention with a provocative question. And then it moves down to interest. So this paragraph sells the problem that the writer wants to fix by convincing the reader that the current course of action isn't sustainable. The writer sparks Jinhua's interest in hearing about an alternative strategy. Then it moves down to desire. To build Jinhua's desire to consider a new approach, the writer lists some key benefits that the new strategy could bring. Then it goes down to action. The call to action asks Xinhua for permission to take time off from his regular duties for a few weeks. Yeah. And then, of course, this is the call to action, right? Okay, so Lavish Steiner is something that you'll use. and it outlines the steps in purchasing for consumers. And each step can be related to a marketing communication tool or promotional effort. So when you talk about Lavish and Steiner, there is, of course, right, there are different steps. So it goes from awareness to knowledge to liking to preference to conviction and then to purchase. Yeah, to purchase. So these are the steps that are taken by customers, right, when they purchase. And you can see that there are promotional efforts that can be used to address these different steps, right? And then what happens is these are the research components that can be used. And of course, these 6 steps can be condensed into cognitive, affective, and cognitive, right? And cognitive. And when you come up with the advertorials, you can actually go by these steps, right? You can use these different steps to come up with your paragraphs. Yeah. Okay, so this is an example of an advertorial. And as you can see here, it's about, it's called We Will Fight for Your Baby. So it's a hospital. It's a true story of a hospital that saved a baby's life. Yeah. And of course, they have pictures. This advertorial has pictures, and it's very storytelling like. If you notice, it doesn't look like an advertisement, right? So it's very storytelling like, but it still has links that lead to the hospital that they're trying to promote. Yeah, and then you can see that there are highlights and there are hyperlinks and there are subheadings, right? So it's very, and there are pictures and there are quotes. So it's a very attractive format that it uses. Quotes, right? There's a lot of white space, of course, and then there is, the whole story of this and what they went through, and of course how the story ended on a positive note, right? And pictures of the hospital and captions and quotes, and then the people who were involved, right? And then the child who was affected, and then the whole story about this. So when you read this, it's more like a story rather than an advertisement. And this is where the call to action is. What they want you to do is, what the advertorial wants you to do is to learn more. Yeah, to learn more about this. So that's what it wants you to do. So if you click here, it will go to the website. And then you can find out about the services, the doctors and locations, research, innovation, patients and families, health professionals could get, you could get information that are relevant to these topics. And of course, more pictures and patient stories. And so it's basically selling this hospital. Yeah, selling this hospital through storytelling. Okay, so look for the paragraphs that reflect Steiner model in pairs, right? You can do that as a simple exercise before you do your actual advertorial soon. Okay, so that's the end of the lecture for today. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.